March 7, 1875, Casino de Monte Carlo, Monaco. The croupier places a heavy black cloth over the roulette table. In 4 nights, a quiet English engineer has done the impossible. He's broken the bank at Monte Carlo 6 times, winning more money than Europe's most prestigious casino can cover. Joseph Jagger sits motionless, but something's terribly wrong. For 3 straight days, the winning numbers hit like clockwork. Now, nothing. He looks at the brass rim, searching for his secret marker, a tiny scratch. But it's not there. They've switched his wheel. Without that flawed wheel, bankruptcy is minutes away. But across the crowded hall, a familiar glint catches his eye. There sits his wheel, spinning quietly, unguarded. It's his last chance. Can he beat the casino at their own rigged game? And how did a broke textile worker from Yorkshire bring Europe's gambling capital to its knees? Yorkshire, England, 1873. The textile mill's machines thunder like artillery. Joseph Jagger, 42, grips the rail of a massive spinning frame, watching 10,000 threads dance in perfect chaos. But his mind isn't on cotton, it's on catastrophe. His textile business has collapsed. Creditors circle like vultures. 4 children depend on him, and bankruptcy papers sit on his kitchen table, waiting for his signature. Most men would surrender. Joseph studies the game instead. See, every machine develops quirks. A bearing wears unevenly here. A gear skips there. Nothing made by human hands stays perfectly random. And that's when the idea hits him. The idea that'll either save his family or destroy them. What if roulette wheels aren't random either? Imagine you're watching a factory wheel that should spin evenly, but keeps favoring the left side. Tiny imperfections, invisible to the naked eye, create patterns. Now imagine that same principle applied to a casino roulette wheel worth millions. Gamblers call it the gambler's fallacy, chasing patterns where none exist. But Joseph isn't chasing ghosts, he's hunting physics. Late at night, by candlelight, he sketches roulette layouts and scribbles probability equations. The math is brutal, but the logic is beautiful. If just one wheel in Monte Carlo has a bias, even a tiny one, he could turn that flaw into a fortune. The catch? He needs money to test his theory. Money he doesn't have. So Joseph does something desperate. He approaches friends, family, anyone who'll listen. "Lend me your savings," he says. "I'll return it tenfold." They think he's lost his mind. Maybe he has. But desperation breeds genius, and genius demands sacrifice. With borrowed money burning holes in his pockets, Joseph boards the train to Monte Carlo. 18 hours to the French Riviera. 18 hours to rehearse a plan that sounds insane even to him. His first step was clear. Find a biased wheel among dozens. Then prove the bias exists through weeks of secret observation. And finally exploit it before the casino catches on. Simple on paper, suicide in practice. As the train cuts through the French countryside, Joseph stares at his reflection in the window. Tomorrow, he'll walk into the world's most sophisticated casino with nothing but a theory and borrowed money. He's either about to become rich beyond his wildest dreams or lose everything he's ever touched. But what Joseph doesn't know is that Monte Carlo's roulette wheels hide a secret that'll make him the most famous gambler in history. And what happens when the casino realizes they're being beaten by science? The Mediterranean sun blazes off the Casino de Monte Carlo's marble facade as Joseph steps from his carriage. Forget everything you know about casinos. This is a palace. Crystal chandeliers the size of carriages. Gold leaf so thick you could scrape it with a knife. Aristocrats in silk and diamonds treating 1,000-franc chips like pocket change. Joseph smooths his modest suit and enters the lion's den. But he's not here to gamble. Not yet. He's here to hunt, and he's brought reinforcements. Meet Joseph's secret weapon, 6 desperate men with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Each one broke, each one hungry, each one assigned to a specific roulette table with pencil, paper, and explicit orders. Blend in, don't draw attention, record every spin. For weeks, they execute the most audacious intelligence operation in gambling history. They chat with other players. They place small bets to maintain cover. But their eyes never leave the wheels. Every number, every result, logged in secret. Most wheels? Random as expected. But wheel 6? That's a completely different story. Late one night in his hotel room, Joseph spreads the handwritten ledgers across his bed. His hands tremble as he tallies the results. One cluster of numbers blazes off the page like fire. 7, 8, 9, 17, 18, 19, 22, 28, 29. 9 numbers hitting 28% more often than mathematics allows. The bias is real. The wheel is flawed. He burns the notes to ash, no evidence, no turning back, and stares out at the glittering harbor. Tomorrow, he'll bet everything on 9 magic numbers. It's the greatest calculated risk in gambling history. But will cold mathematics really beat hot luck? And what happens when Europe's smartest casino realizes they're under attack? The Grand Salon hums with champagne laughter and cigar smoke. Fortunes rise and fall around green baize tables, while crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows on marble floors. Joseph Jagger approaches wheel 6. His heart pounds against his ribs as he slides chips across his 9 numbers. 7, 8, 9, 17, 18, 19, 22, 28, 29. The croupier nods politely and sets the wheel spinning. The ivory ball whirs around the rim, defying gravity for one magnificent moment before physics takes hold. Clunk. Number 8. Direct hit. Joseph's face remains stone, but inside, fireworks explode. The dealer pushes a stack of winnings his way. 1 spin, 1 victory. But 1 victory proves nothing. But in the next spin, number 28, another hit. The 3rd spin, it drops in number 17. Hit again. By midnight, Joseph has broken the bank, won more money than the table can cover. The black cloth comes out, halting play while they rush in fresh funds. The ritual of defeat played out in full view of astonished aristocrats. Word spreads through the casino like wildfire. The Englishman is winning everything. The following night, Joseph breaks the bank twice, and the 3rd night, 4 times. By the end of the 3rd day, he's won over 2 million francs, roughly $15 million in today's money. The casino's 100,000 franc reserve keeps running dry, requiring emergency refills that draw crowds like street theater. But in the casino's back offices, panic spreads like plague. The pit bosses talk in French. The managers pace like caged tigers. Joseph Jagger is bleeding them dry, and they have no idea how. On the 4th morning, the casino manager greets Joseph with a smile thin as razor wire. "Bonne chance, Monsieur Jagger." "Oh shit, good luck." The words taste like poison. Joseph settles at his usual table and places his standard bets. Everything looks normal. Same wheel, same croupier, same green felt. But something feels off, like walking into your house and sensing someone's been there. The wheel spins. The ball dances. Number 14. It's a miss. Joseph frowns and doubles his bet, and the next spin lands on 31. Miss again. Then 20. Another miss. In minutes, thousands of francs evaporate. The numbers that made him rich for 3 straight days suddenly turn cold as winter. His magic system fails without warning, without explanation. Across the hall, the manager's smile widens. Their midnight counterstrike is working. But Joseph Jagger didn't become an engineer by accepting failure. His eyes scan the wheel, searching for answers. That's when he sees it, or rather, doesn't see it. The tiny scratch on the brass rim, his secret identifier, is gone. They've switched his wheel. Joseph's blood turns to ice, then fire. He sweeps the casino floor with predator's eyes, hunting for that familiar nick in the metal. There, across the crowded hall, a roulette wheel with that telltale scratch sits at an empty corner table. Found you. Joseph scoops up his remaining chips and cuts through the crowd like a shark through water. Confused gamblers watch him abandon a perfectly good table for one that looks identical. The manager's confidence crumbles as Joseph slides his chips across the scratched wheel's numbers. The croupier spins. The ball settles. Number 22. Hit. We are again in our favorite roulette. The crowd erupts. Joseph exhales triumph. Monte Carlo's shell game has failed. He's found his golden goose and resumed his winning ways. But the casino has one more weapon in its arsenal. And this time, they're not just moving the wheel, they're changing the rules of physics itself. What secret modification will the casino make to stop Joseph forever? And how does a man beat a machine that literally rewrites itself overnight? Behind locked doors, Monte Carlo's directors rage like wounded animals. They've tried everything, moved wheels, changed dealers, even brought in Lucky Charms. Nothing stops the English engineer from winning. "He's making us look like amateurs," the head manager snarls. "Fix this. Tonight." In the dead hours before dawn, Monte Carlo's mechanics work by lamplight, making modifications that would impress watchmakers. They loosen the metal dividers between numbers on Joseph's wheel, the frets that separate each pocket. Now those dividers can be subtly rotated to new positions. The effect? The wheel's bias shifts like quicksand. The lucky numbers that paid out yesterday become losers today. Joseph's hard-won data becomes worthless overnight. It's mechanical warfare, and Joseph doesn't even know he's under attack. Day 6 arrives bright and deadly. Joseph approaches his scratched wheel with supreme confidence, unaware that physics has been rewritten while he slept. He places his standard bets on the 9 magic numbers and settles in for another day of riches. The wheel spins and lands on number 13. It's a miss. Joseph shrugs. Even biased wheels miss sometimes. But it happens the following spins too. His stomach clenches as chip after chip disappears into the house's coffers. The numbers that made him rich for 5 straight days betray him without mercy. Across the hall, pit bosses exchange relieved nods. The Englishman is finally bleeding. But Joseph Jagger has survived factory accidents, business failures, and bankruptcy threats. He doesn't break easily. For 2 agonizing days, he fights the shifting bias, trying to decode the wheel's new personality. But the casino keeps adjusting the frets, ensuring the bias never stabilizes long enough for him to track. It's like trying to hit a target that moves every time you aim. The cruel irony cuts deep. Joseph discovered that roulette wheels aren't random, only to watch the casino make his wheel random again. On the 8th night, facing his reflection in the hotel mirror, Joseph makes the hardest decision of his gambling career. The system that made him legendary has met its match. Every spin now courts disaster. Time to walk away. The next morning, Joseph Jagger cashes out for the final time. His remaining fortune, roughly £65,000, worth around £10 million today, fills leather satchels that barely contain his winnings. The crowd that once cheered his victories has thinned to curious onlookers. As he walks through Monte Carlo's marble doors for the last time, Joseph carries more than money. He carries immortality. He's become the man who beat the unbeatable game, even if only temporarily. The journey home to Yorkshire feels different. No longer the desperate debtor fleeing bankruptcy, Joseph returns as a legend. In Bradford's working-class pubs, they whisper about the local engineer who broke the bank at Monte Carlo. Joseph pays every debt, buys his family a mansion, and invests in property that'll support them for generations. Not bad for a man who started with borrowed money and a crazy theory about machine imperfections. But Joseph's victory costs Monte Carlo more than money. It costs them their reputation for invincibility. Word spreads through gambling circles. The house can be beaten. Other advantage players descend on casinos worldwide, hunting for biased wheels and exploitable flaws. In every casino, players still study wheels, still hunt for patterns, still dream of finding that one magical flaw that'll make them rich. Joseph Jagger proved that even random chance has cracks, and that knowledge changes everything. For one shining moment, science conquered luck. Mathematics defeated probability. A quiet engineer from Yorkshire showed the world that the house doesn't always win. If you're smart enough, patient enough, and brave enough to risk everything on a theory. Joseph Jagger walked away with a fortune and eternal fame. The casinos fixed their wheels and carried on, but the whisper of his victory echoes still. Maybe, just maybe, you can beat the unbeatable game. Speaking of beating unbeatable games, have I told you about the MIT students who conquered Las Vegas blackjack tables using nothing but mathematics and teamwork? If you want to hear that incredible story of how college kids took casinos for millions, you need to tell me in the comments right now. And trust me, their ending will shock you even more than Joseph's. Until next time, keep hunting for those patterns. The house wants you to believe everything's random, but now you know better.